What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, obviously I am outside. Today we are going to be talking about UPS versus FedEx. I'm gonna start out by giving you a little rundown of how this video is gonna go. I'm gonna first introduce you all to a little bit of history about me with both companies, and then I'm gonna get into 4 different topics. I'm gonna talk about the pay, the benefits, I'm gonna talk about advancement opportunities, and within each of those topics, I will be giving you all some experience that I encountered while working both of these jobs. So to start out with my experience at UPS, I started there in August 2020, working as a package handler. About 6 or 7 months into working, I did get promoted to a ramp supervisor where I was outside working with the planes, and then I later moved on to become a training supervisor. So that is a little background history of my experience at UPS. I worked for UPS for 2 years. Within that time, I did learn a lot. Now to talk about my FedEx experience. I started FedEx around November of 2022, and I worked at FedEx Ground as a inbound, outbound unloader. Basically what I was doing there was just dealing with packages that was inside of the trailers. I later switched positions and worked as a scanner, which basically meant that any package that was irregular or too big to fit up the conveyor belt that came out of the trailer, I would scan each of those packages and put labels on them so they could go where they need to be. Now that I gave you some background experiences with both of those jobs, let's get into the pay. I do want to mention that the wages in each state are different and they will vary. I am in the state of Kentucky, so I will be specifically talking about the pay rate in the state of Kentucky. To start with FedEx pay, FedEx gets paid up to $18.75 an hour. If you look on their webpage or their website, it's gonna say earn up to $18.75 an hour. When I got hired on, it was during like peak season time, so they were giving people an extra $1 more, but the regular pay rate there was $17, so I did get that $18.75 while I was working there. Now, that was for the graveyard shift, which is what some people call it. Also, it's considered third shift work, meaning I worked nighttime. First shift workers made $16.75. And something I also would like to mention about FedEx is if you were to decide to work extra hours or work overtime or just anything of that sort, depending on what shift you work, and I'll get into the shifts a little later, depending on what shift you work, that is the pay rate that you will make. When I got hired, they were so for promoting, hey, you could pick up a shift, you could pick up this shift, you know? But when you go to work that shift, you are going to be making whatever that shift is paying all of their other employees. So like I said, I was making $18.75 third shift, but say I came in for second shift, I was making that $16.75 an hour. And I did not know that until I got my pay stubs, when I had 3 different pay rates literally on there. That is something to keep in mind. Now let's talk about UPS pay. UPS in the state of Kentucky will pay $21 an hour starting out. And that was for third shift. Now, when I did start back in 2020, I got hired on at like $14 an hour, which was a lot to me at the time. And they ended up raising it to $18 an hour. And then I guess something went on with them not giving us our yearly raises, so they ended up bumping it up to $21 an hour. And that was for third shift. You will be getting paid the same amount of money that you got hired on for. When it comes to FedEx or UPS on the pay, UPS is winning, okay? Next topic. Next, I like to talk about the hours and basically how many hours you will be getting within your shift. So for FedEx, if you are hired on as a full-time employee, you'll be making anywhere between 6 to 10 hours a day. Now that is what the website says. I've never really worked a full-time shift at FedEx nor UPS, so I can't really speak much on it, but full-time shifts is between 6 to 10 hours. If you are a part-time worker at FedEx, you will be working between 3 to 6 hours a day. Now, when they say 3 to 6 hours a day, they are not lying, y'all. Like, during peak season, we were getting a good 5 to 8 hours a day. But as soon as peak season was over, and when I said we came in at like 11:45 and left out at 3 a.m. every single day, the hours were gone. Like, we were literally only getting that 3 hours guaranteed every night. So if you're looking to work a part-time job and, you know, you still want to be able to provide for yourself with some money, you know, pay bills, whatever the case may be, just know that FedEx will give you 3-hour shifts. And yes, you can pick up extra shifts, but it has to be on a different shift. So you will have to come in the morning, or you will have to come in for second shift. You can't just stay after later or anything of that sort. And remember, if you do work those other shifts, you will not be getting paid that $18.75 or $17.75, whatever the case may be that you are supposed to be getting paid. Another thing to mention is overtime. So at FedEx, you get overtime after you have reached 40 hours within 1 week. All right, y'all, I had to switch the scene a little bit, but let's continue with this video. Full-time employees at UPS are guaranteed 8 hours every single day. Now, I will have to say that to work full-time at UPS, you do have to be on the job for a certain amount of time. UPS is seniority based, and basically what that means is whenever your first start date is, that is your seniority date, meaning that from then on, if you want to work a full-time job there, you have to put in basically something like a bid, and depending on full-time shifts that are needed at that job, they will look through the bid list and see whose seniority date is the highest. I will have to mention that there are other UPS facilities that do hire people as a full-time worker. You would just have to search it up and look for it. For part-time workers, you are guaranteed 3 to 5 hours every day. I will say that the only time I have ever worked 3-hour shifts at UPS is on holidays. Holidays, we don't really do a lot of volume. There's multiple reasons as to why, such as people aren't really shipping and receiving packages during the holidays. Post offices aren't even open. So there's just a lot that play into why we don't get that many hours during the holidays that we do work, but you are guaranteed 3 to 5 hours every single day. Something else that is a plus, you get overtime after 5 hours of work, meaning anything after 5 hours in that day is considered overtime, and you are getting paid time and a half, meaning that you are getting paid half plus your whole pay when you are working after 5 hours. It doesn't matter if you are working 5 hours this day and you miss a day tomorrow and you work another 5 hours and you decide to work 6 hours one day, you are getting that overtime pay regardless of what happened throughout the week, overtime after 5 hours. Now, for both jobs, obviously the hours do vary depending on the volume that you are getting. So, when it comes to shifts, FedEx, UPS. For me personally, I'm gonna go with UPS because guaranteed overtime after 5 hours really does kick in. Although FedEx does hire you as a full-time employee if that is what you're seeking. For a part-time, you will literally sometimes be getting only 3 hours every single day, and that ain't enough money for me, so no. Let's go into the next topic. And please feel free to comment down which ones you think are winning when we compare both companies. The next thing we're going to talk about is insurance. Now, if you don't even care about the insurance, you can just skip to the next part. But for the ones who do care about their benefits and insurance, let's get into that. For FedEx, insurance includes medical, dental, and vision. For full-time and part-time employees, you do have to be employed on the job for 90 days. I believe I worked at FedEx for more than 90 days, but I never really got into their insurance. The insurance isn't free. For UPS, their insurance includes medical, pharmacy, dental, and vision, as well as hearing care. In order to be eligible for this insurance, full-time and part-time employees have to be working for at least 90 days. When it comes to insurance for FedEx and UPS, it's a tie. They both have to wait 90 days, and they both include medical, dental, vision, but UPS comes with a plus because they also have hearing and pharmacy. Now, let's get into these benefits. Starting with FedEx benefits, the one thing I want to talk about is their tuition reimbursement plan. So FedEx has a $5,250 tuition reimbursement that you can use every single year for a lifetime. It doesn't matter if you're going to graduate, undergraduate, master's, doctorates, whatever it is, you can use this reimbursement every single year for the rest of your life if you want to. You are eligible for this benefit literally your first day of being hired on. I was working at FedEx for a good week and a half, 2 weeks, and I was like, let me go ahead and sign up for these benefits because why not? I'm in school and it's free money, so I might as well take a part of that. It was such an easy enrollment, y'all. Literally, I had to just go on the computer, put in information about my classes and how much I needed back. And literally, when I left that night, the next morning, I woke up with the email saying that I have been approved. And they gave me a voucher and everything that I needed to just give to my school. That was pretty nice, y'all. FedEx is also partnered with a bunch of different companies around the world to where you can get discounts on your phone bill, electronics, cars, restaurants, and much more. Again, I wasn't working there too long, so I didn't really get a chance to see these type of benefits that was available to me, but they are there and you can get some more information. Oh. Y'all, there are ducks over here and I thought that they was about to attack me. They over here playing. Oh my goodness. So I wasn't employed at the job long enough to take part of these discounts and benefits, but if you're already hired, if you're looking to be hired, ask your manager, ask your supervisor. Another benefit that FedEx has is paid parental leave. So if you or your spouse or your husband, boyfriend, whatever the case may be, I said husband, boyfriend, y'all know what I mean. If any of y'all are pregnant or having a baby, not just the mother will get paid, but the father will be able to get paid as well for that time that they need off, which I think is really good because although it's the mother that is the one carrying the child, the father too still needs to have some type of income coming in while they are out of work for their newborn. Now that I've talked about the FedEx benefits, let's get into UPS benefits. Okay, so to start out with the first benefit at UPS, they do offer free counseling. You can get this counseling paid while you are actually on the clock at work. UPS is really big on dealing with mental health and just making sure that all of their employees are okay, not just physically, but mentally. UPS also offers free insurance, meaning once you get hired on and you have been on the job for those 90 days, your insurance is actually free. And this has a lot to do with something that I'm going to cover a little bit towards the end of the video. UPS also has a 26-week coverage of injured pay, meaning if you were to get injured on the job or even off of the job, you can literally get up to 26 weeks of pay. As well, they also do have parental leave pay, meaning if you are pregnant, you do get to sign up for that pay. I will say that their insurance is good. I did work on the job long enough to get the insurance. I will have to mention, if you are ever to get promoted to a supervisor, that insurance is no longer free. Again, I will explain a little bit about this reason towards the end of the video. On to the next benefit, let's talk about that tuition pay. UPS will pay your full, F-U-L-L, full, like I'm so full, like your full tuition to go to school. In the state of Kentucky, there are actually 4 different programs that you can enroll in to get your tuition paid for. We have one called Earn and Learn, Metropolitan, Kentucky Loop, and I can't really think about the other one. Metropolitan is the one that I was in for a good two years. You don't specifically have to be on the job for a certain amount of time, but there is a whole like application process that you have to go through for you to get accepted, or I guess enrolled into that specific program. And it's not too hard. You do have to be hired on to UPS at a specific start date in order to be eligible to apply for the Metropolitan program. When it comes to Earn and Learn, which is a different program, that means that they are not paying your tuition right away, but you can go to school, work at UPS, earn the money you need, and basically when you are finished with the semester, UPS will reimburse you that money. You are earning and you are learning. You see what they did there? It's cute, I know. Last but not least, they have Kentucky Loop. Kentucky Loop program is basically where if you are anywhere the outskirts of Kentucky, they will actually provide you with a stipend every single month and pay you extra money for you to have a place to live. They will find you a place to live. On top of that, they will pay your school tuition. That is by far the best one I have ever heard of. When it comes to FedEx and UPS on the benefits, who do y'all think won? Because I already know. So I'm not gonna answer that, but please comment down below which one you think is best when it comes to the benefit. There is opportunity for advancement for both of the jobs. I was not promoted or anything at FedEx, but they did literally let you know that you can get promoted, you can move positions. It was never something that was a secret. They literally had a whole posting up on the wall every time you walked in with updated positions that they're trying to fill, and literally part-time or full-time employees there were eligible. So that's really a good plus. Now when it comes to UPS, they also are big on opportunity for advancement. They seek to hire people who are working within the company, whereas FedEx, if you go online and you see a supervisor position on there, 9 times out of 10 you can apply and probably get that job. For UPS, they only promote from within the company, so you have to be actually working at UPS to get promoted. So before I end this video off, I do want to talk about some pros and cons of each job. For FedEx, I do have 2 cons that I think really stuck out to me, but you know, you could think something different. FedEx does not have a union. Like, there is no type of union there at all whatsoever. Like, whoever the management is in there, they are the ones in control of their employees. Literally, that's it. There's no one backing you up. There's no one on your side, you know, working for you, trying to get you to get better benefits, anything of that sort. I did deal with a lot in that job, and I'm not gonna say like I dealt with stuff that was just like so wrong that it just hurt. Like, no, nothing of that sort. But you can just feel the difference of a job that has a union compared to a job that does not have a union. It's very unstructured. Like, just to talk about like the time, for FedEx, they had like a mobile app, and it basically showed you the shifts and the times that you work, or shifts that you want to pick up or not pick up, and things of that sort. And like I said, they ended up dropping our hours down to only 3 hours a day. Literally 3 hours a day. I commuted to get to that job, and it was a good 20-25 minute drive just to get there, just for 3 hours. And I was only making like $18. And they ended up kicking our pay back down, so I was only making $17. It was just a lot of different stuff that was very unprofessional to me. And I feel like if there was a union in place, it probably would have been a lot better. Another thing, which can be a con or a plus depending on how you feel, is mandatory to work extra hours, extra days. Personally, for me, I did have to work extra hours. I never really had to work an extra day. Can't say that during the peak season, like we would work our regular 5 or 6 hours a day, but on Friday, they literally made us work from like 11 to 7 a.m. in the morning because it was mandatory for peak season hours. I even put this on the list, but FedEx literally does not allow phones in the building, like at all. Like, go check out my other FedEx video if you're trying to see how I had to deal with that situation. Don't really have any pros to talk about. Not saying that there isn't any pros, but I kind of already mentioned the things that I like and didn't like about FedEx. So let's talk about the pros and cons about UPS. The only con that I can say for UPS is, again, the mandatory work. I know that it wasn't even during peak season, but because UPS was so short-staffed, I was originally working a Sunday through Thursday shift and literally made Sunday through Thursday workers come in on Fridays, meaning we only had one day off. And we had to work that Friday shift literally for like 2 months straight. Just imagine, you're supposed to be guaranteed to have this day off and you have to come in and work. And if you don't, guess what? You get written up for it. And not so much as written up, but you get an occurrence for it. Literally, you get a point because you didn't come in on your supposed to be off day that they made mandatory. Again, I already talked about a bunch of pros at UPS, so I'm not gonna sit here and just go over the things again. Something else I do think is a pro at FedEx though is they have something called occasional worker. And as an occasional worker, that means you can get hired on and only work 2 days a month. You are only mandatory to work 2 days out of the whole month, and you can still be employed at that job. Honestly, I think that is real good for, I don't know, people who just don't want to work but want to work, or whatever situation they got going on. I think that's a really good opportunity for some people. You don't just have to work 2 days. You can pick up shifts. You can come in more days or whatever, but it's really flexible for you. Like, you literally can just come in to work anytime you want. Like, they don't tell you the 2 days you have to work or anything. Like, it's just occasional, so you come in occasionally. If you made it to the end of this video, you are a real one. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one. Bye.